Yes, you read the title correctly. I bought every single Sonic game ever released. But why? Well, one day I bought Sonic CD. May not seem like a big deal, but it marked the end of my Sonic Genesis collection. And after this, I got to thinking about what other Sonic collections I wanted to fill. Maybe the Game Gear games, the GBA games, the Saturn games even. And then I had the great idea of, what if I bought them all? Welp, I severely underestimated how difficult finding some of these games would be, but let's start from the beginning. So this is my Sonic game collection so far, and you know, by the time I'm done collecting all the games, I think it's going to be more than double this size, maybe? I don't even know. Probably need to do the math, but this is like, I think it's like 50 games so far, and there's over 100 games in total, I'm pretty sure, so yeah, that's fun. I don't even know where to start. I kind of want to start with the Saturn games, but those just get really expensive, so I might put those on hold till like the very end. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with what I see. Maybe even start the Game Gear collection, because I haven't even started that one yet. There's a lot to get still. Now, before we get to collecting the rest of the games I need, we need to establish some rules. Number one, if I own a game for one console, then I'm not buying it again for another console. The only reason why I have Sonic 06 on 360 and PS3 was because I wanted to play the DLC that wasn't available on PS3 for some reason. Of course, there are some exceptions to this, like the 8-bit versions of the Genesis games and Sonic Unleashed for the Wii, since those are considerably different games compared to their next-gen counterparts. And finally, I'm not going to be getting any PC exclusive collections, just going purely for console and handheld games. Speaking of bundles, I won't be getting any of them, so no Sonic Classics or the Sonic Adventure 2-pack. Collections like Mega Collection, Gems Collection, and Sonic Jam are included, however, because those are ports of games from older consoles, if that makes any sense. And lastly, just in case anybody asks, I own Mania Plus physically and Base Mania digitally on Switch and Steam. I'm not buying Base Mania physically. Sorry, there's no point. But yeah, other than that, everything else is fair game. Anyway, I was ready to get this show on the road, so I headed to my local game store, which is one of the only ways I could get these games in person. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to resort to eBay or Mercari. Alright y'all, day 2, I guess, of this adventure. Got some games here. So I took a trip to my local game store, and I picked up some Sonic games, so yeah. There they are. Alright, we got a couple of GameCube games. I got Dreams for the PS4. Even though I know that's not a Sonic game, but I just wanted that game. And I got a couple of Game Gear games. So we have Sonic Triple Trouble and Sonic 2. So actually, these I think are actually a pretty decent price, $10 and $8. I'm gonna peel these stickers off. But it's actually really funny. So I went to go pick these up, right? And one of the employees there saw that I was getting Game Gear games, and I guess they don't sell Game Gear games often, and they're like, "You're buying the Game Gear games?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's kind of funny. But I would have bought more if they had more, but Sonic games, but these were the only 2 they had. So I think there's like 8 Game Gear games in total. But I got the other 2 GameCube games I needed, and I'm pretty sure I have all of the Sonic games on GameCube now. So I'm gonna go test to make sure these work real quick. Cool. Awesome. Alright, well those games work. As for the Game Gear games, I don't have a way to test those yet because I don't have a Game Gear, but hopefully they work. They were really cheap anyway, so if they didn't work, then it's not really a big deal. But before I get the more expensive Game Gear games, I think I'm going to want to buy a Game Gear. So yeah. And also, if you guys were wondering how I'm keeping track of all of this stuff, I have a list of every Sonic game I need right here, and then I also have all of the ones I already have. So I have it on like a checklist in a separate tab, but yeah, these are the rest I need. And complete in box also, if possible. But in some cases, probably not, just because they're way cheaper. Well, I guess this was the official start of the Game Gear collection. Now, you may have noticed that these games don't have their cardboard boxes. Well, for all handheld games and other cartridge-based games that don't usually come in plastic cases, I'm going to buy these custom game cases for them instead. There's this cool website called Custom Game Cases that sells a ton of reproduction cases for games that don't have them. They look pretty nice next to all of my other games. But I didn't have a Game Gear yet, so I didn't have any way of testing to see if these games worked or not. What I did own was a Sega Saturn, and there were a few Sonic games for the platform. The problem was, all of these games were stupidly expensive. The cheapest one was Sonic 3D Blast, which went for around $75 bucks. The others cost $200 bucks each. At least, that's what I thought. One night, I just decided to look at prices for Sonic Jam Complete in Box, and unfortunately, the prices raised a ton compared to when I last looked. I thought I was pretty screwed, until I remembered something. A while back, me, my brother, and a few of my cousins went to this other store that happened to sell retro video games, and I remember seeing a complete copy of Sonic Jam there for $200, which was way lower than what I just saw on eBay. So the next day, while running some errands around town, I called up the store to see if they still had the game in stock. Now, I wasn't expecting to get anywhere with this. I thought that either A, somebody probably already bought it, or B, they raised the price on it. But no, to my surprise, they still had the game for the original $200. Oh yeah, and they had Sonic 3D Blast too, so I decided to pick that up.
Alright, so I have some news, and I have a story to tell too to go along with this stuff, but I bought a couple of more Sonic games, and those are Sonic 3D Blast and Sonic Jam, yeah. So I was not expecting to get Sonic Jam this early in the video. I was expecting to get, honestly, I was expecting to get the Saturn games, like, those were going to be the last ones I got because of just how expensive Sonic Jam is, especially. And obviously I don't have Sonic R yet. I'll get that eventually too, but... So, last night, I was looking at prices on eBay for Sonic Jam in particular, and Sonic 3D Blast, and I realized they've all gone up. They've all gone up a ton. And I remembered, oh wait, I just saw those games at blank store. I'm not trying to dox myself here, so I'm not going to tell you which store. So I went there and picked them both up. Sonic Jam was like $200, and Sonic 3D Blast was $75, all before tax. Which is, those are pretty good prices compared to what they're going for on eBay right now, so I really lucked out. And even, like, the employee at the store, also shout out to you, by the way, if you're somehow watching this video, he was saying, like, yeah, you came at the right time to get these, because... yeah, he was like looking up prices on eBay as he was like ringing me up, and he was like, wow, you did a good job finding these. So I really lucked out getting these for a good price. And it's cool that I finally get to start the Sega Saturn collection of Sonic games. I also did test both of these games, and they're both in great condition, by the way. There's really no scratches or anything on the cases. They're in pretty good condition. I even put Sonic Jam in the box protector because, you know, that's a pretty expensive game. So the last Sega Saturn game I need for Sonic games, at least, is Sonic R. And that one's also pretty freaking expensive, about as expensive as Sonic Jam, so I think it'll be a little while before I pick that one up, unless if I find it for a pretty good price like I did with these two games. But yeah, man, it's just so cool that I finally have these in my collection.
I was just so glad to have these in my collection, and again, I got really lucky finding these games in pretty much flawless condition for that price. Anyway, a few days later, me and my friends went back to the local game store and I picked some more games up, but these were way cheaper, thankfully.
Look how the other one just went off screen. Alright, got a few more games here. I'm actually surprised I didn't own Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection before, but I realized I like never owned it, so picked that one up. And the two Olympic games on the DS, I just decided I'm going to be getting those. I know that Winter Games has like a fantastic story mode apparently, so I might try that one out, but yeah. More money wasting.
Anyway, moving on, there was still one more Sega Saturn game I had to get, which was Sonic R. Unfortunately, this one was also very expensive, and it was basically going for around the same price as Sonic Jam. But I already made two poor financial decisions that day, so I just decided to hold off on getting the game, so I bought Sonic R.
So yeah, similar to Sonic Jam, there's a similar situation with Sonic R here. So I was looking on eBay, and I was just like, you know what, man? I'm just gonna buy it because, for one, prices were going up. Obviously, you know, that's a big deal. And for two, copies seemed to be running out. Like, there were very few copies in this condition left on eBay and Mercari and all those stores I checked. So I was worried, like, I might not be able to find a good condition copy of this game in the future. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and buy it. Fuck it. I have to buy it eventually anyways for the video. So yeah, at least now the Sega Saturn Sonic collection is complete. And all of the Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Sonic games look very nice next to my fucking FNAF book collection, so that's cool.
That marked the end of the Sega Saturn collection, and initially, I thought the more expensive games were now out of the picture. However, after looking at the Dreamcast game prices, I realized I would be spending a lot more than I expected. So I decided to finish out my Game Gear collection instead, and hopefully get an actual Game Gear in the process. And thankfully, most of these games are fairly cheap, except for Tails Adventure, sweet Christ.
Alright, so I own all of the Sonic Game Gear games now. Yep, got Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Chaos, what's this one? Triple Trouble, Spinball, fucking Blast, Labyrinth, and Drift 2, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and the most expensive one, Tails Adventure. So, surprisingly, most of these things were actually pretty cheap, including the little cases I got for them. The only one that was, like, really above what I was expecting was Tails Adventure, which was, like, $70. Freaking ridiculous for a Game Gear game, but it's rare, apparently. And also, I found out while finding these games that both Sonic Drift 1 and Tails Sky Patrol were never released in North America. So, I didn't have to get those. Doesn't make it any weirder that they released the second game in the United States, but not the first game, but, you know, whatever. Oh yeah, and also, I bought a Game Gear too, so that's cool. So yeah, let's go.
So that's another full console Sonic library to check off the list. And you know what? I think I'm going to do a video on the Sonic Game Gear games in the future, because there are a lot of them. Anyway, I thought it would be a good idea to tone it back a little bit and buy some outliers that I still needed, like games that weren't part of a single console library that I didn't grab yet.
First up, Wacky Worlds for the Sega Genesis. I don't even know if this really counts as a Sonic game, but a lot of people in the comments were like, you should probably get this game. It has Sonic on the cover art. So I was like, you know what, whatever, it was cheap, so why not? I also got Sonic Pocket Adventure, just the cartridge. I couldn't find any like case for it, so I just went with the cartridge. Hi dog. I just went with the cartridge instead. Hopefully it works. I don't have a Neo Geo Pocket to test it, but that's cool. And Sonic Rivals 2. So I ordered the first Rivals game as well, but it got canceled, so I had to order another copy basically, and that's coming soon. So yeah, Sonic Rivals 2. And something I didn't realize about PSP game cases is like the newer ones, so I have like Kingdom Hearts right here. The newer ones have the spine like that, so it's like PSP right there. But the older ones have like a way bigger logo on the side, and it just looks terrible on my shelf. Like, why would, even like the little border right here is different. Like, why would they do that?
With the Genesis collection fully completed, I decided it was finally time to tackle the Dreamcast set. There are only 3 games in this set, but they were pretty expensive. SA1 and Shuffle, not too bad, only around $50 a piece. But Sonic Adventure 2 was so incredibly rare because it released on the Dreamcast only months before it released on GameCube. So the Dreamcast version of the game was especially uncommon. But thankfully, I found a copy for around $120 that was slightly damaged, but as long as it worked, I was okay with it. But I also needed to buy a Dreamcast too, and I was dumb enough to just buy the first cheap eBay listing I saw without doing any research. It turns out that I accidentally bought a Japanese Dreamcast, which would lock me out of playing the games I bought. But thankfully, I realized that in time to cancel the order, and I bought a US Dreamcast instead.
Alright everybody, new haul. We have the Sega Dreamcast set of Sonic games. And we also have, you know, Sonic Rivals as well. So yeah, completed the Dreamcast set. All 3 games are here. The most expensive one was obviously Sonic Adventure 2, but the rest actually weren't too expensive. And then, of course, you know, Sonic Rivals is just kind of there. And you already know, bro, we're out here playing mid on the Dreamcast. Love to see it. You know, something I didn't know is that, like, hold on, let me hold the controller in front. Look how cool that is. It, like, shows Sonic's face on the little screen. That's pretty neat. I didn't know it does that.
With the Dreamcast and PSP sets completed, the only other full set I still needed to get was the Game Boy Advance lineup. Other than that, I just had some weird obscure one-offs like Sonic Jam for the Gamecom. But it seemed that I had finally come to the home stretch of this challenge. I ended up being pretty wrong there, but we'll get into that soon.
Alright guys, we got another pretty big haul. So before we get into the big set, let's go like individually with some of the one-offs I got. So first we have Sega Superstars for the PS2. This used like the little iToy thing. I've never owned one of those, and I don't really know if this even counts as a Sonic game, but it was pretty cheap, so I picked it up. Then we have Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood. One of the worst games of all time. I'm definitely not going to play it, but you know, needed it to complete the collection, so I have it now. And then, of course, we have the complete GBA set. We have Sonic Advance, Sonic Advance 2, yeah, put that right there, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic 1 Genesis, Sonic Pinball Party, and Sonic Battle, and they're all complete with their cool little custom game cases. So yeah, I own the entire GBA set now, meaning that we don't have much left for this series. We just need a few more one-off games and then we're done pretty much. So yeah, that's cool.
And just like that, we've made it to the final few games on the list. The main sets have been covered, the most expensive games have been collected, and all that's left are a few one-off spin-off games and some educational games.
First up, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing with Banjo-Kazooie on the Xbox 360. I already have this game on PS3. I didn't need to get this version, but it has Banjo in it, so that's why I got it. I was just like, fuck it. Why not? We have Sonic Jam on the Gamecom. Definitely one of the worst Sonic games out there. So, but you know, had to get it, obviously. Alright, let's see. And then I have the last two Olympic Games ports that I needed to get. Again, I don't know if I really needed to get these since I have them on console, but why not? And last we have, well not last, but we have some educational games as well, like the Sonic for DIDJ and Sonic X for the Leapster. Sure. And then we have the Sega Pico games, which, if you didn't know, Sega actually had their own educational game console. And there's two Sonic games for them, Sonic Game World and Tales in the Music Maker. These boxes are really fucking huge, by the way. Like, I don't know where the hell I'm going to display these, but yeah, I got those. And of course, finally, we ended off on the latest Sonic game. Sonic X Shadow Generations. This is the Switch version. I just have it with the reversible art. But I have this game on PS4 as well. This is the limited run exclusive NTSC PS4 copy, so that's why I have like a case protector and junk. But yeah, guys, that's that.
So that's it, right? I've completed the collection, right? Well, no. You see, at the beginning of the video, I said I wouldn't be getting PC exclusive ports or bundles. But what about PC exclusive Sonic games? Surely there isn't some random obscure Sonic PC game out there that is impossible to find. Oh. Sonic's Schoolhouse, the last game I needed to complete the entire Sonic game collection. This was the last hurdle I needed to jump to complete this massive challenge. One slight problem though, I couldn't find a single listing for this game on any website. eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, I even resorted to online retro game stores. I couldn't find it anywhere. The only thing I found was a disc-only copy that sold on Mercari for 17 bucks, but that's all it gave me. There were no listings anywhere. So I went to my local game stores yet again and still found nothing. Weeks went by and every day I just kept looking through eBay, Mercari, and all of that stuff. Until one day, I found it. My bro NNC Reviews posted a tweet basically saying that he picked up a copy of the game, and I was like, what? How did you get that? I've been looking for one forever. So just for shits and giggles, I went on eBay and to my surprise, there was a copy of the game available for sale.
I finally have it. I have no idea why Sonic's Schoolhouse was so hard to find, but I have it, and it's the only PC Sonic game I needed to get, because this is the only one that's like exclusively on PC and is not a collection. But man, it just feels good to finally have this shitty ass game.
And with that, I now own every Sonic game released in North America. But why? Look, I've always been fond of game collecting, and I've always been a Sonic fan for as long as I can remember. So just being able to say that I own every game released in the franchise is kind of insane to think about. Nearly 100 games were released in total, and I own all of them. Yes, I know, I didn't get the JP exclusive games, I didn't get the PC collections, even though that would have been kind of pointless, and I obviously didn't get any of the arcade machines because how would I? But for every game released in retail in North America, I own all of them. and it's really cool having the entire catalog under my belt. But with that being said, here is every Sonic game.
Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Spinball, Sonic 3D Blast, fucking Wacky Worlds, Knuckles Chaotix, shout out Nolan for getting this for me, Sonic CD, Sonic R, Sonic 3D Blast again, Sonic Jam again, Sonic Pocket Adventure, Sonic Blast, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Labyrinth, Sonic Drift 2, Mean Bean Machine again, Tails Adventure, Sonic Spinball again, Sonic 2 again, Sonic 1 again, SA1, SA2, Sonic Shuffle, SA1 DX, SA2 Battle, Sonic Riders, Sonic Gems Collection, Sonic Mega Collection, Sega Superstars, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Heroes, Trash Ass Game, Sonic Mega Collection Plus, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, Sonic Colors, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic and the Black Knight, Mario and Sonic 2008, Mario and Sonic Winter Games, Mario and Sonic 2012, Sonic 06, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Sega Superstars Tennis, Sonic Free Riders, Sonic Rivals 1, Sonic Rivals 2, Sonic 06, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, again, Sonic X, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Lost World, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, Mario and Sonic 2014 Olympic Games, Mario and Sonic 2016 Olympic Games, Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, Team Sonic Racing, Sonic X Shadow Generations, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Superstars, Mario and Sonic 2020 Olympic Games, Sonic Colors Ultimate, Sonic Origins Plus, Sonic X Shadow Generations again, Sonic Rush Adventure, Sonic Colors again, Sonic Chronicles, Mario and Sonic 2008, Mario and Sonic 2010, Sonic Classic Collection, Sonic 1 Genesis, Sonic Pinball Party, Sonic Battle, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 1, Mario and Sonic Rio 2016, Mario and Sonic 2012, Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal, Sonic Lost World 3DS, Sonic Generations 3DS, Sonic Game World, Tails and the Music Maker, and Sonic's Schoolhouse.
Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.